scooter fans, the Nanrobot LS7 Plus, massive scooter, two 2400 watt motors, 4800 watts total, unbelievable, 40 amp hour battery, 55 plus miles per hour, all LEDs in the deck and the stem, beautiful looking at night. This is just an awesome scooter, the biggest scooter that Nanrobot makes. We're going to unbox it, we're going to take a look at it, set it up, so let's get started. We have our box here, we have our user manual, very nice, neatly packaged, all in color. Great details in here. I love how Nanrobot sets up their manuals. Very simple to read, easy to keep organized, it's great. Have our remote for our LEDs. Little extension for the tires, pump them up. As a 60 volt scooter, so we have our charging adapter, 67.2 volts, awesome. Connector. Our standard Allen key set, so you can do all your minor repairs. I would recommend. Definitely get an upgrade if you have a couple scooters. These are great for putting on maybe your handlebars, adjusting them, simple things, but I wouldn't rely too much on them, but definitely a nice convenience. And then of course, because this is a 55 mile per hour plus scooter, you have to have a steering damper, and this one comes with it, and it's awesome. So this is really control those speed wobbles that you get to those higher speeds. So this is a must. Comes with the LS7 Plus, so phenomenal. Alright, as you can see, this is a huge scooter. Look at these massive tires on this. Huge stem, really awesome. You can already see the LEDs on here on the side where it's going to illuminate. So quick setup here. Get this beast up and running. Oh my god, the stem, humongous. Loosen this up here. It is a great locking mechanism that Nanrobot does. They've stuck with all their scooters with this locking mechanism. It's tried and true, so why change a thing that really works? It's really simple, as you can see. You just loosen that up. There's a C-clamp here. Tighten it down. With a couple cranks here, make sure it's nice and snug. And look at that. No stem wobble at all. Completely locked in place. Super great. We'll install this in a second here. Going down to this massive deck. This is just huge. Look at that 40 amp hour battery in there. Look at this deck. I mean, that is humongous. I don't think I've ever seen a deck that wide on a scooter. Already have our bracket partially installed for our steering damper, so that's nice. Just have to connect this up. All of our wired connections here, nice and zip tied together. Great sturdy, solid metal kick plate. All right, so let's get the handlebars on here. taking a look at this awesome scooter. It's very satisfying. Yeah, pulling that tape off there. Great. Alright, so we're just going to loosen up these 4 bolts here. Pro tip, I'd highly recommend getting yourself one of these hex bit sets, millimeter. Pretty much all the bolts on these scooters are going to be in millimeter size. So the specific ones for these is going to be a 4 millimeter. Grab your drill and loosen those up. Alright, we have our handlebars tightened on there. Anybody saw, I used this little Allen key set here. These are great to have. I have it in millimeter sizes, metric sizes. A great set. Sometimes you just need to have this little extra tool to be able to get in here and tighten it down and make it nice and snug. This is a great set to have, or something similar to it. You have all the variables that you'll need to be able to tighten pretty much anything on the scooter here. Alright, so what we're going to do is just make our minor adjustments here to everything. I noticed that the grips are a little loose, so a little bit of hairspray on the inside will pull these off, a little bit of hairspray there in the middle, and we'll be able to tighten these down so they won't move at all. No big issue there. Now we're just going to go and remove some stickers here, or film on top. There we go. We have our keys, the 2 keys that came with here, our turn signals, lights. Everything looks good up here so far. We have our nut hydraulic brakes. They feel pretty good as they are right now. Now what I like to do is I like to stand on the scooter. So either try to find a wall or something you can stand on so you can get the exact height that you need, and then you can adjust your brakes to how you like them. I'll probably adjust this up a little bit more. See how it comes loose already? Sometimes you have to do that. That's for shipping purposes. So I'm thinking probably about here for me. Feels pretty good. I like to use my middle finger to hit the brakes and my first finger for the trigger. And then we'll adjust these back a little bit more too, just so it's not so far forward. And we'll tighten up those screws and be good to go. Alright, so here you go, the Nanrobot LS7 Plus. The only thing I installed on the last part here was the steering dampener. I didn't feel like I need to show that in the video because it is very simple, because you already have this bracket on here. Pretty much you're just going to put these 2 bolts in right here and here, and then you just tighten this one down about right in the middle so you can get a good steering clearance, and that's it. Crank it all the way down to negative for maximum steering dampening for you getting those high crazy speeds, and then all the way back the other way to the plus side to reduce the dampening. Pretty straightforward and simple, but awesome to be able to include that in on this beast of a scooter. I mean, just look at this thing. This thing is massive. So let's start up here at the handlebars. With all Nanrobot scooters, this deck height, or the stem height I should say, is just phenomenal. You have the really great grips here. The only thing that I had an issue with, as you can see, is they do spin. I don't know why they didn't lock these down like they do on their other scooters, but for some reason they didn't on this. So a little bit of hairspray in there, slide these back on, and they'll be locked in. You have your on and off switch for your lights. You have your horn. I know somebody complained about not hearing the horn, so actually I have to turn the scooter on here So let's flick it on real fast. There we go. So pretty wimpy for a big scooter like this, but it's the same thing as all of the other Nanrobot scooters. It's the same horn. It works. It's functional. You have your voltmeter here. You can see this is a 60 volt scooter. So right now we're at 63.5 volts. This takes on a single charger 18 hours of charge because of the massive 40 amp hour battery. It just takes that long. It does come with a second charger, but you know, not you'd have to buy that separately. You have the lights here. You can see beautiful display of lights. Look at that. Great to see at night. These change to all these different colors with the remote. Moving over to the display here, super great, nice and clean. A little different than the D6 Plus and the N6 that just came out. Seems like it's a little more information on here than the other two, because you have your odometer here listed, your miles per hour or kilometers per hour, your battery percentage is down here, a nice Nanrobot logo, and you can see that you have your lights there. Gives you an indicator, also with turn signals, very nice and clean, and then your brakes. I know that's come up a couple times, like, oh my god, is this an error on here? No, it's just your brakes, all good to go. And then you can get into your P settings, so you have your 0 start that it shows, and then your gears as well. Really simple to change, just hitting the plus button there, change to your 3 gears. Nice, great display, love it. Moving over to the right side here, you have your eco and turbo buttons, single and dual motor, and then to your throttle. I said power button, plus and minus, hold the 2 down, get into your P settings so you can make your changes. You have nut hydraulic brakes, one of the best in the industry. These feel phenomenal. You can really feel the responsiveness. I didn't have to adjust these at all. I mean, they're pretty much set up and ready to go. One of the other nice things too with the Nanrobot scooters is that they have all the cables wrapped here. It's a nice cable management through here. If you need to change anything as well, you have these nice just plugs here. You can pop them out and then put a new one right back on if you need to replace something. Looking at this massive stem here, you can see super thick. I mean, like, look at this. It's huge. The size of this, it's very beefy, awesome, really fits the scooter, and it gives you that extra stability too when you're riding. With the cable management, comes down here all nice and tied together. I mean, that's beautiful. It keeps everything nice and clean. Waterproofs it a little bit more too with those connectors. I know some people aren't a fan of these lights. I absolutely love these lights. I think they're super cool. They really illuminate well at night. I love riding at night, and I just think they're great. Let's flick that back on actually again so you can see it. Look at that. I think that's super cool. You have the blue halo light in there. You can see how much it illuminates. You get this cool red ring too on the ground. You always want to put an additional light on when you're riding at night, but for what it is, you can really see it great in the daylight too. Also has a strobe effect too if you just flick the light switch 2 times. Coming to, I mean, this is just their stem locking mechanism is just one of the best in the industry. Super simple. Unscrew this, C-clamp comes out, the whole thing just breaks down, folds down, makes it a little bit smaller. On this huge 110-pound scooter, I mean, everything counts, but this is just, it's sturdy, it works. You get no stem wobble. I haven't had it on any of the scooters, and I've done quite a bit of riding on these. You can see all this phenomenal lighting here. Still got the plastic on here I had to remove off, but they really love their logos. I mean, it just looks beautiful, as you can tell. All the way up the stem. Looks great. The massive off-road tires, like, look at these. Before I even move on, look at these things. 11-inch off-road tires, but look how wide these things are. Like, crazy. I mean, that's my hand against them. I'm assuming, I think they're 4-inch or maybe 3.5-inch wide tires, but just huge tires. It sounded awesome on the road too. Makes people get out of your way when you're riding down there. And I love these already came installed as well, as far as the fenders, so you don't have to worry about that at all. And these are just super big. You can see how wide they are, and it just covers the entire tire, so you don't have to worry about any mud flying up on you, getting into the C stem here or anything, or onto your suspension springs. I mean, it just keeps it all nice and packed underneath, as well as the back too. Great red anodized aluminum here, all nice and metal. I mean, it just, yeah, it looks phenomenal. Moving into the lights. Boy, I didn't want to forget about this little light here. Just a little more illumination here. One of the great things too, and with illumination and with that night riding again, you can really see these honestly in the daylight. You can see how bright they are just now. And it's not even pitch black out here. It's getting a little dark, but you can see how bright they are. They illuminate from the front, they illuminate from the side, and then you have all the additional lighting as well, even into the brake section. That's just great. I mean, you don't see that on a lot of scooters. They're usually lacking in lights, but this is just great. So people can see you, and you don't have to worry about cars not seeing you out when you're riding. I mean, that's a great bonus. I mean, looking at this deck, it is huge. Now, looking at this deck, it is huge. This has to be one of the biggest decks I've ever seen. Much bigger than the D6 Plus, much bigger than the N6, and this is obviously their biggest line of scooters, and you can tell this is a 40 amp hour battery, massive battery. You get about 45 miles in range, and that's really riding it to be able to get that too. I'm going to throw my foot up here just so you can see how big this deck is. Like, I wear an 11.5-inch shoe, this one is, and you can see just how massive this deck is. Like, if you can't find a spot to put your foot on there, or your feet, you must have some gigantic feet, because this deck is just huge. Looks awesome, graphics are really cool. Has a nice grip here, so you do those off-road riding. Just, I can't be, I can't say enough about it. You have your charge ports down here, 2 of them, down to the great kickstand, which follows all the new kickstands now. They put on all the like the D6 Plus 2.0 comes with it, N6 comes with it. Like, this is just a super solid stand. Not going to be disappointed with this whatsoever. Coming to the brake lights, you can see you get the flashing there, which is great. Get the turn signals, both sides. Great spot to be able to rest your foot while you're riding. All metal. I mean, I can't say enough about it, but super great. If I didn't cover it already, 2 2400 watt motors, 4800 watts of total power in this, 55 plus miles per hour. Like, it's insane to ride. You really have to be able to experience it. Get out there, ride one of these. If you're in the New Jersey area, Philadelphia, Delaware, come down. Take a ride on this demo unit. I have these available. I'll be out of events. You don't want to miss it. But, like, I'm going to step back so you can see the LS7 Plus in all of its glory. I mean, look at that. Not even pitch black out here. You can see just how bright this thing is. Super cool. Pick one up. I have them on sale. Free shipping anywhere in the US. You're not going to be disappointed with this scooter, trust me. So stay tuned. We're going to have some test rides of this, a little bit of video, doing some riding. So stay tuned to the channel, subscribe, like it. go check this out on Blue Force E-Rides. Like I'm telling you, not going to be disappointed. You're going to love it. Until next time, take care.